It's the third night. We are talking on the Samyutta Nikaya suttas. We are still on the first Samyutta, Devata-samyutta. So now we come to sutta number 1.41, the 41st sutta in the Devata-samyutta. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Then, when the night had advanced, a certain Devata of stunning beauty, illuminating the entire Jeta's Grove, approached the Blessed One. Having approached, he paid homage to the Blessed One, stood to one side, and recited these verses in the presence of the Blessed One. So the Devata said this: when one's house is ablaze, the vessel taken out is the one that is useful, not the one left burnt inside. So when the world is ablaze with the fires of aging and death, one should take out one's wealth by giving. What is given is well salvaged or saved. What is given yields pleasant fruit, but not so what is not given. Thieves take it away, or kings. It gets burned by fire or is lost. Then in the end, one leaves the body along with one's possessions. Having understood this, the wise person should enjoy himself but also give. Having given and enjoyed as fits his means, blameless he goes to the heavenly state. That's the end of the sutta. So here the Deva is saying, just like when a house is burning, you take out your goods, then you have saved it, you can use it. So similarly, in this world, if we give, it's like saving our goods. What is given, we can make use of it in the future life. So a lot of people are selfish. They hoard on to their property. And when they die, they can't even take 1 cent along with them. And it does not appear to them in the next life. But whatever we give away, karma is such, all that we give away comes back to us in the next lifetime. So that's why charity, generosity is so important. 1.42, the Devata said, giving what does one give strength? Giving what does one give beauty? Giving what does one give ease or happiness? Giving what does one give sight? Who is the giver of all? Being asked, please explain to me. So this Deva is asking the Buddha this question. To get strength, what should you give? To get beauty, what should you give? To get happiness or ease, what should you give? To get sight, what should you give, etc. Then the Buddha said, giving food, one gives strength. Giving clothes, one gives beauty. Giving a vehicle, one gives ease or happiness. Giving a lamp, one gives sight. The one who gives a residence, a lodging, is the giver of all. But the one who teaches the Dhamma is the giver of the deathless. That's the end of the sutta. So when we give food, we give strength. When we take food, we are strong. So the giver will get back strength. When we give clothes, we make somebody beautiful, we also become beautiful as a result. When we give happiness, when we give a vehicle, then we give ease or happiness, ease of transport. According to the commentary, here a vehicle includes elephants, horses, umbrellas, sandals, walking sticks, palanquins, mending of roads, making of stairways, making of ships, causeways, etc. And then if a person gives a lodging, he gives all. Lodging is quite important. That's why of the material and the material gifts that we can give, the highest is to build a monastery. Because when you build a monastery, you give lodging to the Sangha. to the Sangha of monks, and then the Sangha can continue, can perpetuate. And if there's Sangha around, then there's also the Dhamma. And if you include immaterial things, then the highest gift is the gift of the Dhamma. And here it says, when you give Dhamma, you're giving the deathless. Because that is the way to the deathless, to the deathless state, where there is no more self, there is no dying. So you can only achieve that when you learn the Dhamma. Without learning the Dhamma, we can never achieve the deathless, the Buddha's Dhamma. Now we come to the next sutta, 1.46. Deva said to the Buddha, resounding with a host of nymphs, haunted by a host of demons, this grove is to be called deluding. How does one escape from it? There's a story, I'm not sure how true it is. According to the commentaries, this Deva was actually a monk in the previous life. And because he heard that the Buddha was very ascetic, practiced all the austerities, so he also practiced extremely hard. And as a result of being too ascetic, he passed away. He died. So after he passed away, he was reborn in this heaven of the 33, Tavatimsa heaven. And he found himself in the Nandana grove, the grove of sensual delight, sensual pleasures. And he was surrounded by all these beautiful heavenly nymphs. And he was shocked. He thought, how come he was up here? He didn't know that he passed away. So the Devis brought a big mirror for him to see. And he looked into the mirror, then he realized that he was a Deva. But he was not happy because he was inside an ascetic monk. So instead of being happy there, he immediately flew down to find the Buddha. Then he said these verses that Nandana grove resounds with the host of nymphs, celestial nymphs. And then instead of finding it pleasurable, instead of calling it Nandana, he called it Mohana, from the word Moha, delusion. That's why I said this grove is to be called deluding. And then he asked the Buddha how to escape from it. Then the Buddha gave these verses. According to this Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, I read for you. The straight way, that path is called, and fearless is its destination. The chariot is called unrattling, fitted with wheels of wholesome states. The sense of shame is its leaning board, mindfulness its upholstery. I call the Dhamma the charioteer, with right view running out in front. One who has such a vehicle, whether a woman or a man, has by means of this vehicle drawn close to Nibbana. But actually I will read for you the earliest translation by the Pali Text Society, because to me it sounds very beautiful. According to this Pali Text translation, straight is the name that road is called, and free from fear the quarter whither thou art bound. Thy chariot is the silent runner named, with wheels of righteous effort fitted well. Conscience the leaning board, the drapery is heedfulness. The driver is the Dhamma, I say, and right views they that run before. And be it woman, be it man, for whom such chariot doth wait, by that same car into Nibbana's presence shall they come. So this Pali Text Society, must remember these people who translated the books for the Pali Text Societies, most of them were professors. So their command of English was excellent. So that's why they could write these verses so well. So the Buddha is saying, this is the way to Nibbana. Straight way, free from fear. Wheels of righteous effort, energetic effort. And you need conscience. and you need heedfulness. The driver is the Dhamma, and right view is the one that is leading. You got to have right view in front, and then if you go by such a vehicle, you will come to Nibbana. 1.47. The Deva asks, for whom does merit always increase, both by day and by night? Who are the people going to heaven, established in Dhamma, endowed with virtue? And I guess the Buddha replied, those who set up a park or a grove, the people who construct a bridge, a place to drink and a well, those who give a residence. For them, merit always increases, both by day and by night. Those are the people going to heaven, established in Dhamma, endowed with virtue. So here, the Buddha is saying that if we do a lot of good deeds to benefit a lot of people, like in this case, setting up a park or a grove, construct a bridge, place for people to drink, residence for people. So this reminds us of Sakadeva Raja, because Sakadeva Raja mentioned that as a human being, he did all these good deeds, build roads for people, build bridge, and all, helping people generally. So he was born as a Deva Raja. Of course, he had a lot of other good qualities, like never getting angry, filial to the parents, respect for elders, etc. Now, 1.49, Devata said, those who are stingy here in the world, niggardly folk, revilers, people who create obstacles for others engage in giving alms, what kind of result do they reap? What kind of future destiny? We've come to ask the Blessed One this. How are we to understand it? So here this Devata is asking people who obstruct others from doing charity, what is the result? And the Buddha said, those who are stingy here in the world, niggardly folk, revilers, people who create obstacles for others engage in giving alms, they might be reborn in hell, in the animal realm, or Yama's world. If they come back to the human state, they are born in a poor family, where clothes, food, pleasures and sport are obtained only with difficulty. Whatever the fools may expect from others, even that they do not obtain. This is the result in this very life, and in the future a bad destination. And then the Devata said, we understand thus what you have said. We ask, O Gautama, another question. Those here who, on gaining the human state, are amiable and generous, confident in the Buddha and Dhamma, and deeply respectful towards the Sangha, what kind of result do they reap? What kind of future destiny? We've come to ask the Blessed One this. How are we to understand it? And the Buddha said, those here who, on gaining the human state, are amiable and generous, confident in the Buddha and the Dhamma, and deeply respectful towards the Sangha, these brighten up the heavens where they have been reborn. If they come back to the human state, they are reborn in a rich family, where clothes, food, pleasures and sport are obtained without difficulty. They rejoice like the Devas who control the goods amassed by others. This is the result in this very life, and in the future a good destination. So here the Buddha is saying, if somebody obstructs people doing charity, then they, in this very life, what they want also they cannot get. And in the future life, they will be born into one of the three woeful realms, the ghost realm, animal or hell realm. Whereas another person has faith in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha and follows the Dhamma, then he, in this very life itself, what he makes an effort to get, he can get, and in the future lifetime is born in heaven. So where we are reborn, what we get, all depends on our karma. 1.52, What is good by not decaying? What is good when made secure? What is the precious gem of humans? What cannot be stolen by thieves? And the Buddha said, virtue is good by not decaying. Faith is good when made secure. Wisdom is the precious gem of humans. Merit cannot be stolen by thieves. So the Buddha here is saying, virtue does not decay if you have virtue. And then faith, if it is good faith, secure faith, then it is good for you, beneficial. And wisdom is the precious gem of humans. It's one very valuable thing that we should aim for, possess. And if you have merit from good karma, thieves cannot steal it away. You will bring it with you wherever you go, even in a future lifetime. 1.55. What is it that produces a person? What does he have that runs around? What enters upon samsara? What is his greatest fear? Samsara is, as you know, the round of rebirths, birth and death. And then the Buddha said, it is craving that produces a person. His mind is what runs around. A being enters upon samsara. Suffering is his greatest fear. So it is craving that produces a person. A person is born because of craving. And his person, his mind is what is running all around. A being enters upon samsara. This round of rebirths is for putujana, ordinary beings, because you feel there is a self, there is a being. So you see yourself in your dreams, because existence is like a dream. Consciousness produces this world. So when there is a being, and then there is samsara. Being is bhava, paccaya, jati. There's a being, then it produces birth or rebirth. And suffering is the greatest fear of beings. All beings fear suffering, they only want happiness. 1.71. At Savatthi, standing to one side, that Devata addressed the Blessed One in verse. Having slain what, does one sleep soundly? Having slain what, does one not sorrow? What is the one thing, O Gotama, whose killing you approve? And the Buddha said, having slain anger, one sleeps soundly. Having slain anger, one does not sorrow. The killing of anger, O Devata, with its poison root and honey tip. This is the killing the noble ones praise. For having slain that, one does not sorrow. So the Buddha recommends the killing of anger. If we have a lot of anger, we cannot sleep soundly. And if we have a lot of anger, we have a lot of sorrow or suffering. So the Buddha, the noble ones praise the killing of anger. But this anger is very hard to kill because this anger is connected with the ego. As long as we have the ego and things don't go our way, when we cannot get what we want, then it is natural for anger to arise. Anger towards the people who obstruct you from getting what you want. So one way to lessen your anger is to be more contented. To have not to have too strong ambitions or desires. If you have very strong desires and ambitions, then if you cannot get it, then you get extremely frustrated. But if you are a contented person, then what comes your way, you're happy. What does not come your way, also you're contented. Then in which case, you won't have so much anger. The other way, in fact, the best way to kill anger is to practice meditation. And meditation in the Buddha's teachings is almost always samatha, the cultivation of samadhi. when a person attains even upachara samadhi, which is threshold concentration, or SS concentration, Jin Sing Ting, just before you attain the first jhana, when you attain upachara samadhi, the mind already becomes tranquil, and the 5 hindrances clear away, and you will notice the anger drops drastically. Anger and lust. Anger and lust are the passions. So, in the suttas, the Buddha says, even external ascetics, when they attain jhana, then they become passionless. Passionless meaning the anger and the lust has become very small, very low. So this is the best way to kill anger by samadhi, a tranquil mind, a calm mind. Because when you attain a calm mind, then you feel so nice. And even if you have reason to get angry, you don't feel like getting angry because you don't want to get into an agitated, disturbed, unhappy state. You want to maintain your bliss, you want to maintain your happiness. So you don't want to be ruffled. So even you have reason to get angry, so you don't want to get angry. So that's why samadhi is so helpful. And the other thing is understanding the Dhamma. When we understand the Dhamma, then we know that anger is not good for us. So there's a lot of disadvantages of anger. Anger is one of the poisons. If we have anger, then it upsets our system. We get migraine, we get headache, we get sick. A lot of sickness comes because of our mental condition. If we are mentally healthy, then we are also physically healthy. A lot of people are physically unhealthy because they are mentally unhealthy. So the mental happiness, the mental health is extremely important. 1.73. What here is a man's best treasure? What practice well brings happiness? What is really the sweetest of tastes? How lives the one whom they say lives best? And the Buddha replied, faith is here a man's best treasure. Dhamma practice well brings happiness. Truth is really the sweetest of tastes. One living by wisdom, they say, lives best. So faith here means the faith in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. That is a good treasure to possess. And then if you practice the Dhamma well, then you are a happy person. Happy in this life and happy in the future lives. Dhamma is the extremely precious thing that we can get. Truth is the sweetest of taste. If we are very truthful, we are always don't have remorse. We have principles. The Buddha said, if a person is not truthful, if a person can lie, then he is a shameless person. He can do anything. If a person has a sense of shame, then he will not lie. One living by wisdom lives best. If we are guided by wisdom, whatever we do also, we do correctly. We make the right decisions because we have wisdom. If we don't have wisdom, then we make mistake after mistake. And that we will have a miserable life. 1.76. The Deva asked, what decays? What does not decay? What is declared the deviant path? What is the impediment to wholesome states? What undergoes destruction night and day? What is the stain of the holy life? What is the bath without water? How many fishes are there in the world wherein the mind does not stand firm? We have come to ask the Blessed One this. How are we to understand it? So here is asking a few questions. What is the impediment to wholesome state? What are the obstructions to wholesome states? How many fissures are there in the world? How many cracks, clefts are there in the world, wherein the mind does not stand firm? Then the Buddha replied, the physical form of mortals decays. Their name and clan does not decay. Lust is declared the deviant path. greed, the impediment to wholesome states. Life undergoes destruction night and day. Women are the stain of the holy life. Here's where menfolk are enmeshed. Austerity and the holy life, that is the bath without water. That's the end. One more. There are 6 fissures in the world, wherein the mind does not stand firm. Laziness and negligence, indolence, lack of self-control, drowsiness and lethargy. Avoid these fissures completely. So here the Buddha says, the physical form of mortals decay. All beings have a body, and this body must decay. But the name and the clan does not decay. Lust is the deviant path. Excessive greed is the deviant path. Greed, the impediment to wholesome states. If we are greedy, greedy to satisfy our senses, that is obstruction to wholesome states. And life undergoes destruction night and day, because life is impermanent. That is the strongest characteristic of the world, of the life, anicca, impermanence. So life undergoes destruction night and day. Women are the stain of the holy life. So if a person wants to practice the holy life, the opposite sex, he has to go far away from the opposite sex. Otherwise, a person cannot practice the holy life. And then austerity and the holy life, that is bath without water. The bath without water means purification without needing water. We clean ourselves without using water by austerity, ascetic practice, and practicing the holy life. Then there are 6 fissures, 6 cracks in the world, which makes the mind unstable. The mind cannot stand firm. Laziness is one. Negligence, carelessness, another one. Indolence, no energy to act. Lack of self-control, that means undisciplined. A lot of people don't have discipline. Drowsiness and lethargy, feeling sleepy, no energy. So the Buddha said, avoid these completely. If we want to progress, these are the 6 obstructions in the spiritual path. Laziness, carelessness, indolence, no discipline, drowsiness, lethargy. So the Buddha's advice is very practical. The last sutta, 1.81 in the first Samyutta, in the first chapter. Who here in the world are blessed, peaceful? Whose mode of life is not squandered? Who here fully understands desire? Who enjoys perpetual freedom? Whom do parents and brothers worship when he stands firmly established? Who is the one of humble birth, that even Katyas or nobles here salute? And the Buddha replied, ascetics are blessed in the world. The ascetic life is not squandered. Ascetics fully understand desire. They enjoy perpetual freedom. Parents and brothers worship an ascetic when he stands firmly established. Though an ascetic be of humble birth, even Katyas or warriors, the warrior, the noble clan, here salute him. And that's the end of the sutta. So here the Buddha said, ascetics or renunciants are peaceful people in the world. And the holy life, if one leads the holy life, then he's not squandered his life, he has not wasted his life. Actually, that is the best way to lead our life, practicing the holy path. Then we put our life is the best use. Instead of chasing after all the material things in the world that are impermanent, that we cannot bring along with us in the next rebirth. Whereas if we practice the holy life, and all the benefits that we get from it, we can bring along to our next rebirth. Ascetics fully understand desire. They enjoy perpetual freedom. So if a person practices a holy life, he understands that desire, craving is dangerous. So he tries to be free from desire. And then parents and brothers worship an ascetic when he stands firmly established. Now here is quite interesting. If a family has a son that goes forth, and then that son becomes a holy person, then the parents and the brothers also pay respect to him, worship him. This is very unlike the Mahayana, there's one sutta about filial piety, where it starts off by saying the Buddha was wandering in the forest with his monks, and then he came across a skeleton, and then the Buddha bowed down to that skeleton, and Ananda asked him, people in the world bow to you, Bhagavan, why do you bow to this skeleton? Then according to that sutra, the Buddha said, oh Ananda, you have shallow wisdom. You don't understand. This skeleton could have been my mother or my father in the past life. So that kind of teaching is totally incompatible with the earliest teachings of the Buddha, like here. Right? Like the Buddha, after the Buddha has become enlightened, his parents worship him, pay respect to him. He does not go and worship his parents. So a person is worthy of respect when he is virtuous, not because of blood or something like that. So I think for tonight I stop here as far as the suttas are concerned, because I only prepared up to here. If you have any questions, we can discuss.